What's up, everybody? I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. And I would appreciate if you can just smash that subscribe button, smash that like button like never before.
And the UDM were raised during the negotiations, but definitely not the PA. But, it's not about the PA per se. It's about the principle of this issue. They haven't consulted us, and the ANC must realize that they don't take all the decisions anymore. They didn't win the election. And basically, I referred to clause 24. I said, you can't do this. And then I referred to clause 19, a sufficient consensus clause. So he says he'll get back to me, but I'm still waiting for that.
So when it comes to negotiations, those who will survive are those with a strong backbone. Remember in 1994, during those CODESA negotiations, there were many disagreements. There were many disagreements in that particular conference or those negotiations because no one wanted to submit. No one wanted to compromise. But at the end of the day, somebody had to compromise, and that was the ANC. So now we are in the situation whereby DA is in charge, DA is in control. And many people are not aware that right now, as we speak, DA has power when it comes to this government of general unity. Remember, in 1994, the ANC government was supposed to bring back what was stolen from the Africans. But because of those negotiations, they had to compromise. So when it comes to negotiations, you should not compromise with something that defines you, with something that makes you who you are. You should not compromise with such things. But at the end of the day, ANC had to compromise. Even though they had numbers, but they had to compromise. Even though National Party then was weak, but it was able to control them. It was able to dictate how ANC should make decisions. So that is why we are where we are right now. But many people have a tendency of denying it. When it comes to negotiations, you need to have a backbone. So right now, as we speak, ANC should understand that there's absolutely nothing they can do without DA. I'm going to explain it why.
You need the DA. That's the point I'm trying to make.
It might as well happen that the DA disagrees, but I'm saying it does not have the veto power from not saying the decision cannot be taken. The threshold of 60% is of all the parties which will be participating.
And I'm saying you don't have the threshold of 60%. Put the DA aside. Take you, IFP, PAC, Good Party, PA. You don't have 50%. There's not much you can do on your own.
That is why I'm like, right now as we speak, DA is in control. Why? Because ANC needs DA more than DA needs ANC. Because DA is just excited that ANC is now below 50%. So you have to remember that ANC failed to do the right things when they had the majority, when they had 50% plus. So that is why right now their mindset is like, we have 50%, even if they don't have 50%, because right now they are still in a process of waking up that they are not in control, they are not in charge. So that is why now they still want to make decisions as if they have 50% plus. Right now they are below 50%. But DA is not interested when it comes to making decisions. That is why ANC needs DA more than DA needs ANC. But now here is the problem. Even if ANC can say, you know what, let me bring IFP, let me bring other political parties, but they still can't make a majority. They still can't form a majority. That is why this is just a relationship between ANC and the DA. But now what makes ANC to be scared of DA is the background, is history. Just like National Party was dictating ANC at that time. That is why right now, as we speak, DA, even though it doesn't have majority, but it has power to dictate what? To dictate ANC. Why? Because ANC plus IFP plus other political parties, they cannot form 50% plus. Right now, as we speak, then ANC will realize that it needs parties like EFF, parties like MK as an option. For an example, if someone knows that you don't have any option, your only option is to come to them, they'll always take advantage of you. But the moment you have option, they'll start respect your decisions, they'll start respecting your presence because they know very well that you have other options. But when they formed this thing of a government of national unity, it seems as if DA was the first one to say, ANC, come, let's negotiate. That is why right now they have power to tell ANC that you should not bring anyone here without consulting us. You have to consult with us first before you can bring PA, before you can bring any other political party. In other words, you have to consult with us. Why? Now they have power. But now DA is very clever. They jumped in first and convinced ANC, knowing very well that ANC was going to compromise. It's because they wanted to stop EFF and MK indirectly. Because they don't want ANC to have an option to say, okay, if you don't want us to implement this, then we have EFF, we have IFP, we have we have MK. They will vote together with us. So DA is very strategic. That is why they jumped into the boat first. Why? Because they wanted to prevent this collaboration between ANC and MK or EFF. So right now, as we speak, ANC doesn't have option. So all these other political parties that are there in this government of national unity are just there to dance, are just there as spectators. But now ANC has to wake up and realize that DA is in control. So if you need someone more than they need you, then it means you are the one who is desperate. So right now, the one who is desperate is the ANC. Because right now, as we speak, DA doesn't care much about the positions, occupying this position, and etc. They know very well that ANC is good when it comes to being desperate for, like, being a minister of this, and other political parties. DA, they already know why they are there. They are just there to distract. And their distraction is going to work for them. And is going to work for people who voted for them. So right now, as we speak, people who voted for DA, they're now happy. They're now excited. They can see that now DA is working. DA is just there as a distraction. And now the likes of Fikile and Mbalula should wake up.
At the end of the day, you are going to need the DA, even if it's just 10 members of the DA. You're going to need them in order to deal with any deadlock that you may have.
When you constitute government and you talk about 60% and political parties broadly that participate, the determination of the decisions, how they are taken in terms of cabinet, at the end of the day, should there be any other deadlock with regard to the executive, the deadlock breaking mechanism at your disposal is to negotiate and engage in a sufficient consensus. But it does not apply in terms of decision making such that the party can have a veto power over the executive decision making process.
Okay.
The question that must be interrogated, which is what I think you are in a hurry to make a determination about the DA having veto powers, is that a single political party cannot stop the operations of the executive in this, but unless institutionalized and reflected in the constitution of the country that that veto power, it is acceptable.
And the executive is the government of national unity. It's not the ANC, right?
The government of national unity is of all
Yes.
parties that
Yes,
participate.
which is why you need an agreement. So as the ANC, when you say you can't stop the operations of the executive is not the ANC. The executive is the government of national unity. That's why those people need to agree. At the very least, 60% of them must agree. So that
You can tell by his facial expression that he's now waking up. He's now becoming aware of some of the things that he was not aware of. In other words, right now as we speak, we are no longer under the leadership of African National Congress. ANC is no longer in control. The government now is GNU. And GNU is the combination of all those political parties, such as ANC, IFP, and DA. But these other political parties like IFP and others, they are just there as spectators. Because the relationship here is between the ANC and the DA. But now, Fikile Mbalula wasn't aware that they need DA so much. They need DA. Why? Because them together with IFP and other political parties that are already there, they don't form 50%. That is why I say, now they will realize that they needed someone like EFF. They needed someone like MK. But now it's too late. Why? Because they cannot come out because of arrogance, because of pride. So right now, as we speak, DA is in charge. So what makes DA to be in charge is that they are not desperate. They're not desperate for positions. They're not desperate for all these other things. But they are like, if you want to make a decision, if you want to implement certain policies, you need our vote. You need our permission. Right now, as we speak, ANC is on its knees. Why? Because they prioritize these ministerial positions more than anything. I would appreciate if you can smash that subscribe button, smash that like button like never before.